welcome to the March 14th Franklin Community Schools Board meeting. Happy Pi Day to those of you who are math people. Before we really get started with the meeting, we were going to start with a word of prayer if you'd like to join us.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful spring day. As we look back over the last month, we want to especially thank our staff that made sure everyone was safe in the poor weather and our bus drivers who safely transported students to school and back home. We look forward to the upcoming spring break and ask that you watch over our students, their families, and our teachers and staff as they enjoy time with their family and friends. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen. Okay, well, we will start with our recognitions. Dr. Clendenning.
Good evening and welcome, everyone. It's so fun. Dr. Clendenning and I were talking about seeing all of you here to celebrate. So early congratulations to all of you, and we are going to get started. We're going to start with our guiding principle of individual student growth. It has become a tradition for us. Creekside Science Bowl team. So I know, it's exciting, right? There are a number of you here this evening. So as I call your names, please come forward. Creekside placed second in their division at the state finals for the Science Bowl. Ava Heine, Carly Bowser, Emma Garrett, Maddie Sherry, Braylon Molis, Addie Boshears, Noah Lennon Hayden, Isaiah Silverman, and Micah Silverman. And Micah. Sierra Kruger, Milo Brenton. Oh, there's Sierra. And there's Milo. Maggie Sullivan. Maggie. Molly Cummings. And Lillian Guess. And their coach this year was Coach Dunn. Mrs. Dunn would please come forward as well. Excellent work, everyone. Congratulations. So let's give them all a round of applause. You were trying to hide.
Hi, my name is Milo Brenton, and I came with my mom and dad, Kelly and Dustin.
I'm Noah Lennon Hayden. I came with my dad, my mom, my brother, Mark, Mary Ellen, and Thomas.
Hi, I'm Ava. I came with my mom and sister.
Hi, my name is Carly. I came with my mom, dad, and my two sisters, Katie and Kinsley.
Hi, I'm Emmett. I came with my mom, Jesslyn Garrett.
Hi, I'm Maddie Sherry, and I came with my sister, Gabby.
Hi, I'm Madison Boshears, and I came with my mom and my dad.
Hi, I'm Sierra Kruger, and I came with my mom, dad, and brother. Hi, my name is Maggie Sullivan, and I came with my mom and my sister, Kaylee.
Hi, I'm Isaiah Silverman, and I came with my dad, my mom, and my twin. My name is Micah Silverman, and I'm Isaiah's twin.
Hi, I just wanted to say how proud I am of them. They worked really hard. This year the topic was volcanoes, the rock cycle, and the 3 types of rocks. And they did a great job on all 3 parts of the contest. So I just wanted to say congratulations again.
Okay, before we break out, we got to squeeze in a little bit. And we got to do one line or two. Okay. Mrs. Dunn, hop in there. Dr. Worland. All right, thank you, everybody. Here's a note that says if you drive a black Toyota pickup truck backed in the front, your lights are on. If that's anybody, just wanted to pass that word on.
Excellent job. We will now transition to our Central 9 Students of the Month. So congratulations to our Central 9 Students of the Month for the months of February and March. Jordan Georgiev in Construction Trades. Allison Mulry in Health Science 1. Colton Leeper in HVAC. And Alicia Perkins in Health Science 2. Congratulations, Allison. Nice work.
I'm Allison, and I came with my dad, Brian.
I'm going to ask a couple more questions. Since you're the only C9 rep today, you get to help. So talk about your program. What do you do in your health service 1? And do you like going to the C9? And what advice would you give to all these Creekside kids as you think about going into maybe C9?
So my health science class teaches anatomy and physiology, medical terminology, and just health science. And I don't know, I really like it. I like driving too, so it gives that.
Yeah. Well, one neat thing about the program, talk about the big board that you get to work on to see the cadavers. Have you done that yet?
Yes. So we have this touchscreen board that we get to just look at the human body and just different types of things. And we actually went to the cadaver lab at IU Medical Center, so yeah.
Quite cool. So this is, if you're seriously looking at an opportunity from your sophomore, junior, senior year, I would highly recommend C9. Mrs. Nelson and I traveled up to the Taste of C9 last week. A lot of great things and great students that are going up there. So congratulations and thanks for coming. Can we get a picture? We got to get one picture. Dr. Worland? Slide over.
And now our National Merit finalists. You may have remembered we talked about these students when they were semifinalists, and now they are finalists. So all 3 of our semifinalists for the National Merit Scholarship Program have advanced to the final round. We will know in the next 3 months if they will be receiving scholarships and to what level. So our 3 National Merit finalists are Will McGinnis, Samantha Thurman, and Hannah King. Excellent job, congratulations. Yes, please give them a round of applause.
So first introduce your parents.
So my name is Will McGinnis. I'm here with my mom and my dad, Joe.
So talk a little bit about what university or college you'd like to attend.
So I'm still undecided on where I'm going to go. I'm thinking I'm going to study economics. I'm leaning towards DePaul University right now in Greencastle. So
I would just say for this school year, in actually the history of Franklin, 3 National Merit finalists is a record for us. In 2013, we had 2 National Merit finalists, so this group of students prevailed and went further than that. So congratulations and good luck in the next round. It's quite an honor to be in the top 2 or 3% in the entire nation. So great job and good luck in your endeavors.
thank you.
And we're getting a picture. I know. Thanks so much. Good luck.
And now some of our athletic state finalists. In bowling, Easton Henderson, Easton, if you're here, please come forward. Easton Henderson participated as an individual at the Indiana High School Boys Bowling State Finals. Easton, excellent job. Congratulations.
And I believe in my 13 years as superintendent, it's the first time we've had a bowling student make it all the way to the state finals. Is that correct? Who else had made it? Oh, you made it, okay. Okay, I was still here for that, so it's my third one. So we're glad that you're here with us. What was your average to get to the state finals?
212.
212. And what place did you end up?
22nd.
All right.
Last year I placed 12th. So
All right.
Went down.
Okay. So what do you hope to do when you finish? You're going to continue your bowling career at college or what?
College.
Yep.
But I'm going to, hopefully if everything goes right, Marion University.
All right.
So.
And why don't you introduce the people who are here with you as well?
Oh yeah, I got my mom, my dad, and my coach Mark.
Coach Mark, come on up here with us and grab a picture as well. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Just so you know, these are the jerseys that Easton designed.
Oh,
Nice.
all right. Well, here, let's grab a picture here. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So Coach was just saying he's in the top 24 in the entire state. So 2 years in a row, that's quite an endeavor to continue that success. So well done.
On our girls basketball team, Corinne Brunson was named the Patricia L. Roy Mental Attitude Award at the Girls IHSAA State Basketball Finals. Not sure Corinne is here this evening. If you see Corinne, please make sure you congratulate her. This is quite an accomplishment. It was exciting to see her get that award at the state finals. Jacob Johnson. Is Jacob Johnson with us? Jacob, come on up, please. Jacob Johnson placed 4th in the state finals for wrestling. So please give Jacob a hand. Congratulations, Jacob.
We're going to ask a couple questions as well. So first, talk a little bit about the experience to be up at Granger in that day.
It was a fun day. It was new, which actually was nice because my sophomore year when I made it, it was a packed house. And then my junior year, because of COVID, it was pretty much empty besides us. So it kind of sucked. But then this year it was nice, finally everybody being back, and it was fun.
And where will you continue your wrestling career?
I'm going to University of Indianapolis.
Congratulations. So 4th of the state for Coach Tante and Jacob. And Dr. Warden is asking what's he going to study at UND? Exercise science. So do you want to be a coach then? Physical therapist, all right. Well, it's a great honor to have everybody back here. Next month, we're also going to continue to celebrate the students at the state finals that couldn't come tonight. The girls basketball team and swim team will be here. They all had great success. And the boys basketball team made it to the final 8 on Saturday, and it was quite a game to see. So please come back next month if you want to hear more about great recognitions that we're doing. So for everyone, we have one more, and this one's on collaboration.
Yes, we would like to recognize and thank our bus drivers. Bus Driver Appreciation Day was in February. We are so thankful for those who are with us every day and every afternoon, every morning to get our kids, our students, safely to and from school. They're dedicated to keeping each and every one of our students that are safe, and we're just so thankful for their collaboration and engagement in the district. If we have any of our bus drivers with us this evening, yes, there they are. Please come on down.
Well, as Dr. Warren said, these people have been amazing over the last 2 years and even before that. But right now, it's very difficult in the world of bus drivers to get drivers, and then with everything that was happening around the pandemic. But they have been the true superheroes to get us to and from school every day and making sure things work. We're going to have them introduce themselves and talk to us a little bit about their job within our transportation department. But on behalf of the board and myself and the administration, we wanted to say a heartfelt thank you to all that you do for us. It's very special to have drivers dedicated to make sure kids get to school and back home safely, and we're very honored to have you part of the team.
Hi, I'm Doug Dickinson. I'm the transportation director. These three here were huge in helping us get through COVID and being short on staff. Lindsay, she works in the office each and every day and takes care of a ton of phone calls. Lisa, next to her, filled in for whenever we were all in buses, answering the phone and carrying on, plus having her own route. And then Patty on the end. Patty does an amazing job. She's been in a bus almost as much as what the drivers have this year. So I'll let them each talk a little bit.
I'm Lindsay. I've been in the office, I don't know, since like 2000, is that right? Maybe? No, not that long. I don't know. I've been in there for a long time. But I answer the phones and just kind of try to do my best at answering questions and helping people and bus routes and, I don't know, just saying hey.
I'm Lisa, and I'm just a bus driver, and I love my job.
What's the number?
165. I'm Patty Kenny. I've been with the corporation with transportation for 24 years, March the 1st, and I work in the office. I'm the special needs coordinator for transportation, and assist Doug in whatever needs to be done and drive a bus when need be.
There were many times over this past year where they had to get in buses just to make it work for us to get to school, and so it's very dedicated. Doug would get up early to make sure the routes, and they would get in. And you know it's a fun place to work when you come into the office and they're all giving each other a hard time, even in stressful situations. And it really is joyful to see that, because we know that they're going to get through it collectively, and we're very honored. You'll see a sign on the screen that says "We Heart Our Bus Drivers." These signs are actually going to hang on our fences in our corporation, just to let everybody know how much we appreciate and value them. And if anybody wants to join the team, we'd love to have you. We need bus drivers, and so just talk to Doug. We do our own training, and we help do some of those steps to get you your CDL, and then come be a part of us. So with that, thank you very much. We did provide them a breakfast last 2 Fridays ago now. And that was from Bob Evans, so Natalie helped organize that, and that was a really fun day to have them come. And they really like it when Millie comes to hang out with them. Millie could probably be down here in this picture too. Millie likes to go to transportation, and they love to have Millie join. So with that, thank you very much.
And that concludes our recognitions. You're all more than welcome to stay for the business portion of the meeting, but if you choose not to, now would be a great time to exit. Thank you, and congratulations to everyone. I like it. Good for you.
Is that? Oh.
Yes.
We have one late student from Creekside. We're going to honor her.
Well, sure.
And get a picture. So we're going to do one more.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Huh? Lillian, I think she's. Lillian, right? All right. Pencil? All right. So Lillian, here's what we did a second ago. We give you an opportunity to introduce your family to everybody that's here. Okay? And we tell us what grade you're in.
4th grade. My mom is right there. My little sister's right next to her. And I don't know where my brother went.
And so did you answer questions on volcanoes? What questions did you answer?
I don't remember.
A little bit of everything?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to get one picture here for your mom. And we have a pencil that I actually gave to every scholar, athlete, and person recognized that says, Dr. Clendening thinks I'm sharp. And as you continue to work through the journey there. So with that, thank you very much.
All right. Well, we will, with that, move on to the consent agenda, and Robin says there are no public comments on those. So I do have a couple things on the personnel report. We had, I think I saw there was an update, 4 teachers retiring.
4, yes.
Laura Albright at the middle school, Ann Wilson, and where is she?
She's
Ann
at the
Wilson's
middle
here.
school.
She's here at the middle school, and Cindy King at Needham, and Sheila Rubel
At the middle school.
at the middle school as well. Oh, the middle school's taking a hit this year, so. Anyway, is there any other comments?
We just want to say thank you to all 4 of those individuals, and that's a total of 7 teachers that will be retiring at the end of this year. And it's always bittersweet. Good for them to move on to a new journey, but it's definitely a sad day for us to lose outstanding educators, and so we wish them well.
Any other comments, questions about?
I have a couple comments on the consent agenda items. The first one is on the cybersecurity insurance policy. Just to kind of refresh, last year we retained a policy for a little over $10,000. This time we received one proposal last week, which is Coalition, which is what you're seeing, for a little under $28,000. And I know that's shocking, but given the marketplace and some of the districts not even getting policies, we were excited that they were willing to renew. We did receive a last-minute proposal from Liberty Mutual about 4:30 today, but it was for $52,000. So we feel that the coalition proposal is what we are recommending, and Matt and his staff have been doing a great job putting in the infrastructure that will allow us to retain this coverage.
Great. Thank you.
And then also the JOCO fitness agreement, that is a renewal. We are just proposing to extend the existing agreement through June of this year, and we will, at that time, we'll reevaluate how we're delivering this programming.
Thank you.
And the last thing I have, on the overnight field trips, the baseball field trip is actually a new one. If you recall, kind of before COVID, we were traveling to Kentucky and doing some different things. This one, they're heading just to southern Indiana, but they will be spending the night. So I'm just bringing that back in consent because we've traveled with the baseball team, but it is a new place they're going to go. And then the middle school overnight is coming back as well, and that is a transition program for students going from 8th grade to 9th grade, where they work on the transitioning and some of the skills they're going to need to move into that freshman year.
Okay. Great. Thank you. All right, do I have a motion to approve?
Move for approval.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Becky, how do you vote?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion passes. So we'll move on to superintendent reports. The first is the enrollment forecast with Dr. Bredvig.
Yes, I would like to introduce Dr. Susan Bredvig. Dr. Bredvig did an enrollment forecast, I believe, back in 2017. So we engaged her earlier this year and asked her to refresh that forecast based on census data for 2020, information on new homes that are planned, and probably a little bit of pandemic as well. So, Dr. Bredvig.
Hi, thank you very much, and thank you for having me back. Again, my name is Susan Bredvig, and I did the enrollment forecast. When we talk about an enrollment forecast, typically what we do is we forecast out 10 years. I'm mainly going to share some key milestone years, but that whole time series is available if you need it. So next slide, please. We did have a COVID census, like so much that was COVID, but the census was conducted over a period of 6 months, but it is supposed to be for the date of April 1st, 2020. And what you're seeing is some summary data from the census. And so I highlighted a few things just to draw attention to those. This is for the district itself. Okay, so it's for the 3 townships. For total housing units, 12,500 were counted, and that was an increase of about 640 households. Okay, so households are up about 6%. Going down, reading down, but number of children is down almost 200. Okay, so that's not unusual, not at all. We actually need housing to grow, because otherwise it's what we call aging in place, right? So a family's present, children go to school, children graduate, leave, but mom and dad are still there. So you do need more housing units as well as household creation in order for at least enrollments to stabilize, if not grow. So that gap is not of a concern at all. You would see that normally. To give you some indication what we see in some faster growing school districts, one that comes to mind would be Avon. That'd be Hendricks County, so kind of near the airport. They were up 34% in households, up 17% in children. All right, so that gap always does pretty much exist. And then I also wanted to draw your attention to another piece of information, and that was the average number of children per household. So census results were 63 per 100. That's also highlighted. Again, a faster growing school district in Avon is going to be 70 per 100. I believe Columbus is about 55 per 100, so it gives you some sense of you're pretty much following right where I would anticipate or expect between those two, a very stable community compared to a very fast growing community, somewhere between those two. So next slide, please. So on this slide, I have what I'd call 2 panels. So the top panel is a line graph of your enrollment over time, and then the bottom graph is a column chart, which is basically the year-to-year change. So in terms of your total enrollment from fall 2011, you were almost 5,200, and most recently you were just about 4,900, okay, so over a 10-year period. And then I circled one, which would be fall 21, to give you an indication of that would be the enrollment change from last year. All right, so that's how that bottom graphic works. And I'm highlighting that because I'm going to come back to that. All right? So next slide, please. So when I look at enrollment, and I ask myself, how is it that enrollment changes? Enrollment change really has 2 components. So again, that last year, or last fall, minus 51 students, I would break that out in 2 components. And one is plus 41, and the other one is minus 92. Of course, those equal minus 51. Okay? So I'm going to work through each of those components and pretty much identify what I see is going on in terms of enrollment and how that would change, grow, or decline. Next slide, please. So this is that same graphic that was at the top panel from before. And I circled all of the negative, basically, numbers, all right? So how does enrollment change? A large component of your enrollment change is negative replacement. And what that means is you have large graduating classes that are not replaced by kindergartners and first graders to offset that. And so I'm not necessarily concerned about that. I mean, you would expect those cohorts to grow over time. You also have a fairly large in-transfer at the high school level. So you're seeing large graduating classes not being replaced. However, I do see that as a trend that will not maintain itself. Matter of fact, my forecast has that not repeating again until about the year 2026. So you're not going to see that kind of decline from that gap in replacement. Next slide, please. Another component to this is births. And now I do use county births, so this is Beat Johnson County. And so I'm looking here back to the last century, but I highlighted a couple of things that are important markers. One is the year 2007, and that was the peak of births in Johnson County. Matter of fact, that was the peak of births for the state as well as nationwide, and it was the first time that births nationwide eclipsed the baby boom, which was 1957, 50 years prior. And we have not gone back to that number. Still, now it's 2007 is the highest number of births nationwide, statewide, as well as in the county. Since that time, births really haven't, they've come down, but they haven't fallen off the cliff or anything like that. One thing that is of interest is COVID, like all things, COVID. Births 2021 as well as in 2020 fell off about 3%, and even the beginning of 2021 we're down about 6%, which is just, you know, in the Northeast, down double digits, just things we have never seen, and that's another impact that COVID has had. So we are expecting birth numbers when they continue to roll in to be down a little bit, but come up. But these numbers really are not unusual, actually are better than many other counties in the state. Okay. Next slide, please. And so if we're going to talk first about replacement, the next thing I would talk about would be retention. And so these are the top numbers, and that's where some of your growth is coming from. And that's also offsetting the replacement. Like all things COVID, one of the years in which you did not retain as many students was fall of 2020. So another COVID impact on enrollment. But other than that, we tend to see enrollment gains. So two things are happening. One is transfers coming in, but also this is where new home building comes in, is this component of enrollment. Next slide, please. So when I'm looking at home building, I'm looking at Franklin. I'm also looking at what's happening in areas around Franklin, including the unincorporated areas as well as Bargersville. Now, obviously, not all of Johnson County is built in the 3 townships, but I do a statistical technique to basically allocate homes to enrollment. All right, so I'm actually going to do a regression that ties your enrollment growth and your enrollment change to not only births, but to home building as well. Okay, and next slide, please. And so when we are looking at home building, I've kind of summarized some of my analysis that I did. One is this, what we know about census, the census data. And I would think about that as net impact, right? Where on average, you have to have home building to offset declines and aging in place. And, you know, so in general, a net impact. We'd often look to Avon as an example of that. Net impact of every one house would be about a 0.5. Maybe for some communities like this, maybe a bit like a 0.4. Right? So one is we have the net impact. On the right-hand side, it's the gross impact. Obviously, if we have new homes and rooftops, you know, on average, what could we expect for children specifically in those new homes? And the analysis that I did for your school district is that basically for every 100 new homes, you would expect to see about 110 students. So that's why at a district level, you might not see a lot of impact for home building, but in certain areas or attendance areas in particular for your elementary, you might see a bigger impact. And that's really the difference between net and gross. Okay. Next slide, please. And so when I'm doing your forecast and doing this analysis, I am looking at grade 1, and that's what the replacement component is. I'm looking at the retention component, and so that's from grade to grade 2 to grade 3, grade 3 to grade 4, and so on. And we're looking both at transfer students as well as home building. And then I also do ranges. I mean, there's not one perfect forecast, right? There's not one perfect future. I can't really foresee that, but we can come up with a reasonable range of scenarios that possibly might happen. And I tie those to the home building. Okay, so those are on the next slide, please. So what I have done here is I've identified areas and subdivisions in which there is current building. And the parentheses means basically the lots that are estimated yet to be built out, or at least permitted. And so there's not just single family, there's also multifamily. And then what I've done here is I drew a line. All right, so it's basically to say at this point, what can we reasonably expect based on what we know, what's currently occurring, the progress of the plats, and then below the line are things that are a little bit more uncertain, right? And so that's where I kind of am drawing this line and saying, what can we reasonably expect? And that is on the next slide, please. So the base forecast is effectively everything above the line. That is almost 1,500 single-family homes, and it's about 500 multifamily homes or apartments. Now, there's less children in multifamily units. They're just denser forms of housing. What I did with the low forecast is I just basically about halved it, so about 750, and that gives us a nice range to say, you know, what if the economy changes? What if all this building doesn't happen? And I also see this as like a floor. Right? The point that you won't, very unlikely you could go below. And then the high forecast is, well, what if everything gets built in that list? So it's not, also it's not just everything being built, it's also a faster type of building that would be occurring. So faster building, more enrollment quicker. Next slide, please. So with an assumption of about 1,500 single-family homes being built, you go from about 4,900 students where you are today to almost 5,700 in 10 years out. Note that's not 1,000, like if you would say it was 1,000 households, it's not necessarily, because you still have to replace those students who are graduating out, whose mom and dad are staying in their current house. Okay. I also did this by grade, and what I did is, next slide please. And what I did is I organized it by your grade groups. And so, not surprisingly, every single grade grouping, your elementary, your middle school, your high school, they all could be expected to grow. And then finally, what are the scenarios and what would they mean or what are they like? Basically, with less home building, but still at a high level, you know, 750 homes, you would be at about where you are today in 10 years. So it does suggest you need about that level of building just to maintain your enrollments. But if we were grow more and faster, and that's kind of one of the things, more and faster, you could be up to about 6,700 students in 10 years. On the next slide, I just wanted to highlight that there is detail available. All right, so this is one example of summary. There's other forms of this. There's single ages, there's the detail, and next slide, which is the final one. And there is a report that has this detail available, as well as census detail by your townships. as well. So,
Thank you.
Would you have the data that would be able to break down by the elementary school on the projected growth?
I did not go attendance area to attendance area,
Okay.
but I do have all the individual grade levels as well as by year.
Okay. Would you be able to do that?
I think it really depends, and here's the big it depends, is because you've changed your boundaries,
Yes, we
right?
did.
And so I'm not able to work with that without knowing kind of all of those component pieces, if that's making sense.
Okay.
And again, a rule of thumb, if like, there's some coming to Bargersville to the south, for instance, 100 homes, about 110 students, and that'd be a rule of thumb. But that impact is going to be less at a district level.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. And we'll move on to the second superintendent report, Cub Care, please.
Good evening. So as you know, Franklin Community Schools began offering Cub Care as its own entity in 2015 and 16. We adopted a mission, and for the past 2 years, we've really been focusing on providing a safe and nurturing environment, a little bit of stability during the last 2 years of uncertainty. We offer care Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. until the start of the school day, and then again at dismissal until 6 p.m. Union's a little bit different based on their need. As you can tell, we offer affordable rates, and we do offer an employee discount, as well as rates for those who qualify for free and reduced. Since 2015, you will notice that we've had 5 directors in a stipend role. We've had 1 price increase, $1 for morning care and $2 for afternoon care. We introduced the ICE program in 2018, which allows students who may have an interest in a career in childcare or education the opportunity to earn high school credits while working at Cub Care. Not only has our daily attendance returned to pre-COVID numbers, but we are exceeding some of the daily average attendance that we've seen in years past. And along with everyone else in the world, we are experiencing staffing issues. We've tried to find some creative solutions. We have gone after our student teachers who are with our teachers during the day. We've offered them employment during the afternoons. We've partnered with Cub Academy, substitute teachers, high school students, and Franklin College students. One of the barriers that we're running into is the Affordable Care Act and not being able to offer more than 30 hours. Some of our daytime employees who are interested in after-school hours, we can't offer those. So Tina will speak to our revenue, mostly because she doesn't allow me to talk about numbers.
Okay, so I missed the first part of the presentation. Sorry about that.
Amazing.
It was. Good. So you'll see the numbers from the last few years. And in 2019, we were at a positive net profit of about a little over $40,000. 2020 is where we shut down in March. So we had almost 3 months of our wages that were paid without revenues coming in. So I'm guessing we would have made $60,000 that year. And we also keep in mind that we raised the rates during that time as well. So those kicked in the fall of 2020. So that helped our bottom line. And then in 21, we cleared about $88,000. So these dollars have helped us implement the employer of choice initiatives. We rely heavily on those. Principal packs come out of those. Principals are able to provide a lot of staff and faculty recognition with those dollars. So those dollars are very important to us. But we've kind of come to a crossroads with the structure that we have in place. I think Robin talked about the number of directors that we've had in place. So we kind of need to decide, what are we going to do with this big operation? Do we hire a director and allow that person to focus on this full time? Or the other option would be to outsource to a third-party vendor. So we're kind of gathering some information on both options, but just wanted to introduce the topic to the board tonight and see if you had any questions.
No questions, just a comment on that 2020. I think that you're absolutely right. The board agreed that we would pay the salaries while there was no income coming in. But I think the hit to the program would have been those folks, if they hadn't been paid, we may not have been able to get them back.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So we would have had a harder time filling positions, getting the staff to support to get to that 2021 level. So
absolutely.
I think it was still a good decision. I think the numbers there coming back in 2021 says that it was a good decision. So I'm okay with that number.
Yeah, we're probably, either way we go, we're probably looking at needing to find replacement dollars for that revenue. Hiring a director is going to require full-time salary and benefits, so we're eating into a lot of that net profit, which is fine. We just need to find a different avenue for making those funds.
So
This,
I was just going to,
go ahead.
I just have one question. Do you think that we'll have a easy time of hiring a full-time coordinator since we're having a hard time finding staff in general?
A director level position might be attractive with benefits.
What position?
A director or
Yeah.
coordinator level position.
I did check with, for example, BCSC, down
Yeah.
in Columbus, and Dr. Roberts said they have a full-time dedicated person that does theirs, and he said, I said, well, do you have staffing issues? He said, not like what he and I were talking about, because they were able to focus on that. And, just a reminder in our systemic thinking, this is that plan, do, study, adjust is what we're really doing at this phase right now. We planned this back, several years ago. We've done it, five people and traveling through, and we need to just make some adjustments and see where we're heading. And as we've studied, the revenue is great, and Tina's captured that. I am concerned that we're going through directors, and they're wonderful people. We could list all of the directors and their outstanding attributes, and the last one is standing right next to Tina, and Robin's done an amazing job, but her full-time job is our communication specialist, and when that energy has to be taken away, then I think that's what we have to see is the impact. It's not a dollar impact, it's a real totality impact on what we're doing. So as we travel forward, I just want us to remember that this really does fit in our systemic improvement model as we move forward, and we welcome questions. And kudos to both of these outstanding leaders that we've been able to do some things and really support kids. It has supported kids. It's been hard, there's no doubt about it. We've been creative, and it's still been hard. But I do want to just say thank you to them and what they've done for us over the last year, and then to the previous directors as well.
Yeah, great job.
Thank you. We do have one action item. Do we have any public comments on that, Robin? Nope. Okay, so that's the FCHS choir.
Yes. As we travel to the different contests, sometimes we need to rent facility space. We are headed to Bedford North Lawrence, and they require us to rent some of their space, similar to what happens when we rent out CBIS when the schools come from Northern Indiana for the Lucas Oil Stadium. We rent out for a lot of different things, and this is just a way for us to give a small thank you to them as we rent their facility space. And you can see what the costs are. And this is the first time that we've partnered with Bedford North Lawrence, and so I'm coming to you today to ask that we approve this contract, similar to what we've had in the past with other schools coming to us.
Any questions?
Move for approval.
A second.
Okay, Becky, how do you vote?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we will move on to discussion items. Do we have any public comments about those? Nope, okay. That's the school calendar. Dr. Worland?
Yes, thank you. Again, we're proposing the 23-24 calendar for discussion. If the board remembers, we've already approved the 22-23 calendar, which looks very similar to the current calendar we're in. The 23-24 calendar is, again, fairly similar. The committee this year did a survey of our community. We had 1,063 participants. So thank you to anyone here that participated. I know we have some committee members here. Mr. Scott is here. Mrs. Ott serves on that committee. We had 63 parents respond, 21 students, approximately 14% of our teachers, and 2% of the respondents were administrators. The satisfaction with the current calendar ranked at 79.6%, said they were very satisfied or satisfied. So this calendar looks very similar to what we've done in the past. A couple of notable things. We did confirm today in House Bill 1093, House Bill 1093, that 3 total virtual days are permitted. And that is a change at the state level. We are still waiting on a definition of virtual. We know it will be defined, we're just not sure what that definition will be. So we will update the board as we have that information. You will see in this calendar, we've only built one of them in. We did bring back snow days, so you will see those in. One virtual day is in the calendar, leaving us a couple in the event we need inclement weather or emergency or whatever the case may be. We have that flexibility, so I do want to note that. The other thing that I want to note that is not on the calendar, on Monday, April 8th, we are scheduled to really be the epicenter of a total solar eclipse. That total solar eclipse is anticipated to be at its, what do they call that? Its highest point, at the darkest time, the darkest hour, between 3:07 and 4:23. We are also told that it's possible we will have thousands, if not tens of thousands of people in town that day to watch this event. So we probably do need to think about what we want to do for that day. We posed this question to FCTA today as well. Is it an early release? Is it a virtual day? Is it no day? And we tag that day on to the end. I just want to offer that up for discussion, interested in board feedback, but we probably do need to think about what that day looks like and what transportation may look like that day for our students.
It sounds like it'll be a nightmare. I mean, well, because you remember when the last one, and you watched on television, there were so many people. At this point, I would be leaning towards
E-Day.
Yeah, or a virtual day, that day, whatever we need to do. But
Dr. Hayden did go to Henderson, Kentucky last time. Took him 17 hours to get home. He said the traffic and just all of the congestion was around, and I know we had a couple of people try to get close to that area and couldn't even get there because of just so many people. I am concerned. I mean, Franklin's it, and so we're going to be on the map for this, huh? And we are hosting an event.
Well, and our parking lots that are open spaces are going to be the prime spots for people to gather, right? So, and if we do an early release, those kids are going to be fighting the people that are coming in, right? So it's a...
That's correct.
Right. The other thing is that our legislature, that 1093, they have forgotten that before COVID, they started down the path of e-learning days, right? And they forgot the definition of an e-learning day. So hopefully their memory will come back, right? And will allow us to come back to those terms, and we can define that, it's whether you call it virtual or e-learning, but we had it before COVID. That's why we were in great shape when COVID happened, because we had already put the work in to have, what did it mean, and put the stuff in place. Mr. Sprout was busy getting the equipment, the systems up, and so, it's a shame.
Yeah, I do think that adding a couple snow days back is a really good idea as we travel forward. You know, if you look at some of the things that have gone on, I think there's that fatigue with what's happening in the virtual space. And it was interesting, I had a group of elementary kids write me a letter as part of their activities for a day and ask, would I please consider bringing snow days back, because their mom and dad told them that it was fun during snow days where they got to have, you know, a day out and go play and not have to worry about doing my assignment that day. And you know, we do remember that, and it was that excitement in that. So I thought it was a great activity. I wrote them back and thanked them for that, and I told them that I would consider it. So this is the consideration, but I do think it's appropriate that we would bring those back. Additionally, just to remind everyone, it's been many years since we had the snow day, that it would have to take place 5 days before the actual snow day before we would implement it, because mom and dad's also plan. If we put a snow day on here, there's going to be travel plans and some other things where they would say, so if we have a snow day right next to a day that we were going to call it, we wouldn't use that. We'd do the next one. So just to remind, it's a ways off, we'll remind everybody again, but those are some of those practices and procedures we have in place with that. Did you want to talk also about the April 1st date?
So the April 1st date is actually the Monday after Easter. It is also April Fool's Day. And so some of the thought on the committee was that perhaps it is wise for us to transition back on that day from spring break and have a virtual day that day, given those two factors. Easter is the 31st of March that year. That aligns with some of the comments we received in our survey. So that was the topic of conversation at the committee meeting.
Dr. Warren, will this be voted on the next time, or what would you like to do?
Yes, I would like to vote on it next time. Again, I do want to, hopefully, before we vote, have some sense of a plan for April 8th.
Good.
Thank you. And thank you to Mr. Scott, Mrs. Ott, for serving on the committee. And we had a number of teachers and administrators as well, so thank you to all of those individuals.
You know, Robin, one of the things we might think about is just getting a real quick survey out to parents about the 8th. Just to get mom and dad's input to see what they think about that. Because Monday will be at work. And so now we got kids at home and mom and dad at work and trying to figure out how that all plays. So if you could, maybe we get that and get that back to us to help the board as well.
That's a good idea.
That's a great idea.
All right.
Thanks, Robin.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to board comments. Any comments? Okay, administrative comments.
A couple. One, I would like to propose that we get back into buildings and do visits. As you know, before pandemic arrived, we were doing quarterly visits where you were getting a chance to experience what the kids were doing, what the faculty was doing. We were meeting with them. I think it's time that we return to that and interact with everybody. And so with that, I would propose that before now to the end of May, that we visit the high school and the middle school sometime in April or May, just for breakfast, to interact, for you to hear a little bit about the strategic plan, how it impacts what's going on, also any staffing issues and things like that, and to celebrate. You know, today we got to hear from our national merit to athletes, et cetera. And there's many other outstanding things going on, and it's nice for you to hear that. Mm-hmm. So I would propose that we go back to that. It is a work session, so it's open to the public as well, but it's a time for us to interact in a different space, so I'd like to see us do that. Additionally, it's our annual joint city council meeting, and they are proposing April the 25th, and I believe it is our time to host. So we would be hosting the city council at that time. And so if we can just look at our calendars. Additionally, I would like to add one more joint meeting, and that's with the town of Bargersville. As you've heard today, we are growing in our neighborhoods. If you follow the Daily Journal, and I think Andy and his team wrote an article about 600 new homes that are going out in that area. And we just need to have a conversation about what's going on. So we'll connect up with them, but I wanted to get that on your radar as well, to think about an additional meeting and opportunity to engage with some other elected officials from Bargersville, and see what's going on. So that would be before the end of the school year too, would be my desire, or maybe the latest this summer. So just so you would know that.
Okay. Any comments on the calendar, or is that?
I have a couple.
Oh, okay.
Number one, kindergarten registration, just as a reminder that it is online again this year. Families, we want to encourage anyone who has a kindergarten student, come to Franklin Community Schools. Of course, our buildings are ready to answer questions. Our office staff are always happy to do that, so stop by or jump online. April 22nd, as a reminder too, is an e-learning day in our current calendar. It is also prom for those at the high school, but we will be sending information out to students and parents after spring break about that day, just to reiterate, remind expectations as well as staff. So just as a reminder.
Is kindergarten registration open now?
It is.
It is, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
And we have Cub Academy registration on site on March the 15th at Northwood from 5 to 6:30. We just have a few slots left over from that replacement and retention conversation we just had. So please come out if you're interested in Cub Academy. And just a reminder to everyone that spring break does begin on March 24th, and we'll be back in class on April the 4th. So I just wanted to highlight that for everybody, and we look forward to that event.
Very good. All right. Do we have any public comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll adjourn.
Sorry. Tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we are having a presentation at Needham Elementary regarding, if you want to be a board member to kind of learn about roles and responsibilities. We are meeting, please come into the main office, and I think we're in room 45, is what I was told. But if you just come into the main office, you'll be able to all of us come down there. We'll look forward to having everybody. It starts at 10. Thank you.